We've all been there. It's 2 a.m., you just finished the last page of your book, closed the cover, and now you're wrecked. Or elated, shocked, frustrated, distraught, or maybe a combination of so many emotions you can't put a name to what you're feeling.
But there's an ache in your chest, and all you want to do is turn to someone who knows what you just went through, who you can talk about that favorite scene with, swap theories about the sequel, gush over the hottie your main character landed.
You might try to explain it to your significant other, suggest the book to a colleague, or swap a couple surface-level thoughts with a friend who read it years ago. But there's no one who truly gets it. No one who will tear each moment apart with you, put it all back together, and start the next great read by your side. But what if we told you that now there's someone who will?
I'm Brooke.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Elena.
And we're the High Ladies of the Book Court. Let's read your next favorite book together.
Welcome back, everybody. We are doing episode 2 for Crescent City, Sarah J. Maas's Crescent City. We bit off more than we could chew for 37 chapters in one episode, so we thought we'd come back here, do a quick recap on the predictions that we have made so far, most of them probably extremely off base, and then talk about a couple other things before we launch into our next batch of chapters, which will be episode 3. We will be discussing through chapter 50. So if you're reading along with us, make sure that you read up through there, and then come join us back for episode 3, which will be launching in about a week. But yeah, so last week we dove into a lot. And we decided it would be fun to start keeping track of the outlandish predictions that Jamie and I are making, since this is our first read-through of Crescent City. And Elena, still, so far, so good, not spoiling anything for us, even though I think sometimes you gotta hide, physically hide, mentally hide your features. But yeah, so our predictions thus far for through chapter 37, the first 2 parts, we talked a lot about the fact that it seems pretty suspicious that Danica, Connor, and Thorne were killed in Bryce's room by the monster or thing or whatever caused their demise. Personally, I think that the monster came to kill Bryce and went where her scent was strongest. And that's the current theory that we're going with. We were also talking about Bryce and Hunt just as a unit. Personally, I am 100%. They are endgame. Sarah, don't kill me. My heart is on the line here. And Jamie also thinks that they are endgame, but they're going to start off as some hot friends with benefits.
Who knows?
Who knows? Keeping our minds open.
Hunt is very, still on the Shahar ship still. And Bryce is cautious, and I definitely don't want her to be heartbroken.
No, right. Hunt, don't mess with our girl. If you can't give her your whole heart, give her none of your heart. Fully agree. We talked about our boy Rune, since I got my heart broken a little bit at the beginning when I found out that he was Bryce's brother. So they're not together. I think our current agreed upon prediction is that he is probably going to have a love match with his current arranged marriage partner, Hypaxia, who we have not met yet. So hopefully some fun arranged marriage to love marriage trope in there. We also talked about Rune and Bryce's oracle visits, specifically Rune being told that the royal line would end with him, and Bryce's oracle visit causing the oracle to scream in immense pain and try to gouge out her own eyes. our current predictions, for me, I know that I'm pretty sure that the royal line ending with Rune does not mean that he dies, but hopefully that he and his partner either decide not to have kids or can't have kids, or that they peace out of the family line by choice. I think personally that it's probably going the direction of Bryce carrying on the royal line instead. Um, Jamie thinks that he's gonna die. But yeah, I think we're keeping our fingers crossed on that one.
Yeah, I don't think he will, but I don't know what else it could mean. Brooke, you raised some really good guesses. Maybe he does like rescind his princeship.
Friendship.
um and like Bryce becomes official because it's still a secret that she's the daughter of the Autumn King. So maybe that's what his oracle means. And then for Bryce's, I think maybe hers is that she actually is starborn. Maybe
I
that's why
agree.
her starbornness was so strong that it blinded the oracle.
Yep. I think Bryce has got some immense power, and the Oracle saw that to some degree, and that's what caused her very dramatic reaction.
So dramatic.
But we'll see. It's
I'm like,
so,
this
so
hasn't happened
dramatic.
yet. It's just the future. How is it that bad? What did you
Right.
see?
Right. Come on, Sphinx. Sphinx, right? She's a Sphinx. Sphinx. Yeah.
Still,
Um,
even Hunt was intrigued.
right. How can you not be? Yeah, we talked about Bryce's drop, since it's been mentioned a couple times that Bryce still has not dropped, therefore gaining her immortality. Our thoughts are that Hunt is going to be her anchor. Come on, give us that super cute romance scene. And I think that it's going to only happen after there is a very serious near death experience for Bryce, because give us that awesome romance scene where Hunt has to consider losing her, which would be sad.
Well,
Um,
in their
yeah,
relationship.
right, right. Yeah, you've got to have that, but what would I do without you moment.
Love those.
Um, yeah, no, they're always touching. Hunt's slave contract. We think that it does end eventually. I personally think that it ends because Micah dies. Jamie, I don't know if you agree with me.
No, actually, now that you mention it, I could have sworn I read that he could switch like from archangels. So if Micah is no longer his, he gets transferred to someone else, then that contract will still continue.
Yeah, he's been
I
switched a few times that because
mm,
he's been worked for multiple people.
Yeah, I think before
Or
Micah,
Micah.
it was Sandriel.
Mm-hmm. And then someone else too, I think. Maybe not.
Been
yeah,
200 years, so
I thought he had to be like bequeathed like to somebody else. But maybe my
He I think he was also sold. Like I think people like money was exchanged for Haunted Some. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I think they like he could be bought.
yeah, I
yeah,
thought I
that's
remembered that. So my hope is that if Micah died and didn't expressly say in his will that I got left to whoever, that maybe our boy might get saved that way. But
Yeah,
maybe it's
in
me
his
being
will
too
it's written
optimistic.
Hunt earns freedom.
Unheard. Yeah, I don't think Micah has that in him. Um, and then
yeah.
we
The
have
only way that it could end is that he fulfills Micah's adjusted contract of
or
obtaining.
like Micah grows a soul and just decides to, I don't know, make him not a slave. But
Micah
Out of the
could
goodness of
have
his
a
heart.
soul. I think you guys are missing a big theory here, which is um Bryce flirts with Micah until he lets Hunt free.
Oh shit.
I don't know if I could watch that. Maybe.
If it's
Maybe.
for the greater good.
Not
Ugh.
interested.
You guys all know
A little
how I
flirting.
feel about Micah. Gross.
Little bit.
Oh, I hate him.
I mean, I
But
was
yeah,
totally
last but not
for
least,
him.
sorry, what was that, Jamie?
I was totally for Micah, and then it was revealed how gross and despicable he is.
Yeah. That's why I'm not I don't want Bryce flirting with him to gain her boyfriend's freedom. I want his
A
face to get
lot of
punched
like
in.
ways that Hunt could earn his freedom that we're forgetting about. A lot of people could flirt with oh my god, I can't say
Lehabah?
her name. Yeah.
Mhm.
I couldn't think. She could flirt with him to gain Hunt's freedom.
Oh, Lehabah would do a really good job at that too. That would be a great side plot.
She is us, by the way. She's so thirsty. I'm here for it.
So thirsty, and Jamie is so thirsty to talk about Lehabah. I We're gonna switch over to her in 1 second. The only other prediction that we have so far that we are keeping track of is our whole overarching plot line, which we're trying to just be like, no, never mind, no murders, no horn, there's nothing going on here. But in our last episode, we were guessing that the search for the horn, the missing horn, and the murders are connected, probably being done by the same person or group. And that Bryce will probably be the one to fix the horn, since, main character energy. Um, Probably using her starborn powers to do so. And then as far as current murder suspicions, I definitely think it's Micah, mostly because I hate him. And Jamie thinks it's Sabine, Danica's mom. So
A
yeah,
little a little asterisk. You mean probably using her hypothetical starborn power.
right. I mean, I think that we all agree that we think she is Starborn. So I'm just talking. I'm speaking it into existence, Elena. She's Starborn.
That's like a little asterisk, like supposed possible starborn.
Supposed possible, maybe Starborn powers. Right.
Yes,
Right.
thank you for
Maybe.
keeping us in check.
Yeah, just I'm here to fact check.
And whoever's watching.
Yeah. With the facts that you already know about, and we don't.
Just
But yeah, so that brings us to what we didn't get to in the last episode, which is, I mean, almost first and foremost, Lehabah, who is probably or at least one of my favorite, like, side characters. She is the fire sprite. I think she's a fire sprite that also works at the antiquities dealership with Bryce that Jessica owns, and it is her job to keep the books in line because sometimes they try to escape the library in the basement of the antiquity shop, which I love. So she threatens them with her fire to keep them in line, and she has the best personality where she just hangs out and watches super raunchy romance like soaps almost, and is just immediately attracted to any possible male suitor that could walk through the door. And I think would happily go on a date with Hunt and Rune simultaneously, which I think is where we're all at the same time.
She's a
But yeah,
little
Jamie, how much
ball
do
of
you love
fire.
her?
Oh, I love her. Like I said, she's us. She's thirsty. I love it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and I and she has such a personality too. I feel like she's also lonely. Like the only friends that she has are the people that Bryce brings, and that was Danica, even though Danica wasn't very nice to her. So we finally get to see that with Hunt, and then later Rune. Um, she just falls in love with both of them, and I love that. And watches Fangs and Bangs. Like,
Oh my goodness, Bangs and Bangs, that's what it's called. Oh man. Or that's like its nickname
yeah,
amongst
that's the
people.
nickname. Even Hunt says that too. Tiny little
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioning like how she's lonely sort of made me think about the fact that she's technically, I mean, she's owned by Jessica, I believe, since
yeah.
she is also a slave. Um, so she kind of can't leave the library. Like this is her home, her prison. I think a little bit of both. So we were definitely getting some moments where she was really happy to be spending more time with Bryce. And I think she mentions like how nice it was to have so many people hanging out in the library with her when Bryce and Rune and Hunt are having their little like study session to figure out stuff about um, Crystallos, the monster, and the horn. And yeah, it reminded me of the I think like one of the first scenes between Lehabah and Hunt, where they kind of have a moment about the fact that they're both like they're owned by people. They're slaves technically.
Yeah, like
And
they shared how much they cost
yeah.
and finding out Hunt was.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah, because they were talking about how Bryce bought Syrinx, right? Because he was also I don't think technically a slave, but I think he's free because he's like a pet chimera. Um, and yeah, I think she was mentioning like maybe Bryce could pay for you to hunt, and he's like, oh no, I'm too
Oh no.
expensive.
Is he I don't remember how expensive he is.
Yeah, I don't
In the
remember off the top of my head
billions?
either.
Billions, I think.
Billions.
Billions.
It
Millions.
was it was a lot, or he just like alluded to it being too much.
Yeah.
Um,
3 commas.
yeah,
I mean, my guy does have lightning, so it checks out.
he does have lightning. Like repressed lightning currently too. The tattoo, I think,
True.
of the crown
Yeah, it
represses
does.
his lightning.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see if he gets that tattoo taken off.
Do you think it's like a scale for like how like do you think he's worth more or less than Isaiah? Because like Isaiah's like in charge of him, but Hunt seems more powerful.
I think he's worth more than Isaiah. And I think it's partially because of his power, but also partially because of his past, being basically
Yeah.
like the guy who led the whole rebellion.
Yeah, and plus Hunt has so many titles. I've been keeping track.
He has
What is he
title.
other than the Umbra
Oh,
He
Mortis?
has so many titles. There's the Umbra Mortis,
Yeah.
Shadow of Death, General Hunt Athalar. Am I saying his last name right?
I think it's Athalar, yeah.
I'll just say Athy, like Lehavia does.
Happy!
High Commander and Lord of Lightning is the latest one. I think that one's my
Mm,
favorite.
I was gonna say I
right.
feel like High Commander could be fun. I could see Bryce having fun with that one.
We all could.
That might be a good scene later. Yeah, I forgot about that because Shadow of Death, I think, is what Umbra Mortis means in English. But
And
yeah, they're definitely
his birth name too.
Orion.
Yes.
I kind of forgot that his name was Orion until they mentioned it again in
Me
one of the
too.
more recent chapters. I was like, oh, that's right. You've got like a cute mom given name, not just like Hunt, bringer of death. Yeah. It is very interesting, the whole theme of slavery that is very
Mm.
predominant in this book and definitely makes me a little uncomfortable. And I'm hoping we're getting to the point where that won't be a thing anymore. But it's definitely an interesting dynamic where you have like this whole slave population mixed in with this non-slave population, just like it's nothing.
Well, I feel like it's also interesting because like I feel like there's two different dynamics to the slave population. There's the rebels that were turned into slaves that are owned by like other angels, and then like Lehabah, like all sprites, like aren't all sprite slaves at this point just because they decided like they're lesser? Like, isn't that what I think there's a whole group of people, like when you look at that first page that is listed as just like automatic slave, which is
I think
not.
that I think it's Lehabah that um I don't know if she brings it up first or if it's brought up somehow differently, but it's said that
Mhm,
basically sprites were part of the rebellion.
mhm,
So part of their punishment is that for all generations they will be
mhm.
slaves, like no questions
Yeah.
asked.
Yeah, versus all the angels that are like the angels have long enough lifespans that it's the same angels but new generations of
That
sprites.
might be part of it. I think it's also like a racism of like viewing angels as more human than sprites. So they see sprites as lesser. So they're just like, we decide you're all slaves forever. Deal with it.
Yeah. And then aren't there also other populations that are just slaves forever? Like it's not just sprites, I thought. Like we only know the sprite and hunt, but for some reason I thought there were other populations that are just automatically.
I think there are, but I don't remember specifically which ones they mentioned. But I think you're right. I think it was basically quick, find the page.
It's the first one. It's the very first one that is kind of overwhelming.
Oh,
I can't turn fast enough.
it's the you mean the like almost like the
Mhm.
title page, Elena?
Yeah.
Does it say
Yeah,
on there, Jamie?
Like the
In the
very
In the
bottom.
Midgard breakdown?
It says sprites with a asterisk. Sprites were kicked out of their house as a result of their participation in the fall and are now considered lowers, though many of them refuse to accept this.
Oh,
So I think
lowers.
it's
Yeah, that's what I'm
yeah.
thinking of.
So that is the like group that Syrinx is
Mhm.
part of because I think that's like the group of beings that are considered battle, basically like animals today. You know, they're not given like person status, they're property.
Yeah. Well, and then does everyone drop? Like, do sprites drop? Like, I don't know who.
No.
No idea.
I don't think Syrinx drops, but like Syrinx definitely has like I can't think of the word.
I don't know if they've
Consciousness.
said it. Yeah, I don't know if they've talked about like their immortality levels or like how they attain longer life than humans if they have it, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's coming. Um, we keep
No, I
talking about
don't.
my
I was
yeah,
just gonna say I don't remember.
maybe they'll bring it up, but the only thing I've only heard of dropping in terms of what do they call the begins with a V, the like
Of the year?
non-human. Is it yeah, yes. The Vanir, yeah. I think it's just them that do the drop. So I don't think that the lowers or
I always
lessers
thought
or
the veneers were like those that aren't like animals and humans.
yeah,
So
I
sprites would
think
be considered.
yeah. I don't know. Maybe they'll talk about if Lehabah needs to do a drop.
Yeah.
But
I don't-
the whole drop thing kind of I don't know. I've got a lot of questions about that and like why in this particular universe you have to go through a process to gain your immortality. Like it's very different from other books, even other Sarah J. Maas novels, where it's like there's a moment in time where you go through this weird process to gain your immortality, and then you create a burst of magic, then it's then you like goes into the power source. I don't know. I don't know if you guys have thoughts on
Yeah,
that,
it's
but
interesting. I don't think I've ever read anything that has something like this.
yeah. No, I definitely haven't. And it always sort of like leaves a weird taste in my mouth where I'm like, why are people doing this drop and then creating like electricity to power smartphones?
Yeah.
Why is someone's magic juice in my desk light? Like, I don't know, weird.
And you get to choose when you drop too. That's
Elena,
interesting.
Elena, do you have thoughts? No thoughts. Is there something under your desk you need to go get, or like a did you forget cookies that you needed for a snack?
my phone just-
Is it Winnie?
Oh no, I actually don't know where Winnie is. I should find her.
Winnie. Winnie should
Um,
make a an appearance
make
at
an
some point.
appearance. Yeah, at some point.
She
She's
can come
not
on.
in here right now.
Yeah, she can come to a later episode, dog episode.
For context, Winnie's my dog.
Audience, we've got pets.
Um,
Yeah,
no,
we
I
don't
don't
have to
have
talk about
any.
it anymore, but
I don't have any thoughts other than it's interesting that you like have put so much thought into First Light already. Because I feel like in the first book I never really thought about it because it's kind of like a backdrop thing. Like Bryce will drop at some point, but like not right now. So I don't know. I never really thought about it or like how it relates to the gates or the process because it is weird. Like I don't know why the mechanics are that you need to drop. And I don't remember if there's a backstory for like, oh, like this is why how we learned that you can turn first light into energy. Like
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, it seemed like weird and like very clinical and governmental to me that it's like you go into this weird like cold almost like like medical room and you do this drop process which is very I don't know, seems like kind of risky to me because you need an anchor to come back from it. And then you
Yeah.
create an unknown amount of magical electric juice and then the government uses it to power stuff. Like, when did this process get created and why? Please inform me. Elena dropped something under her desk. Jamie, I don't know if you have any thoughts or feelings on the matter, but it's been mentioned like 3 times, and every time my skin crawls a little bit, so I just had to say something.
Yeah.
Say something.
See, yes. See first light, say first light.
I honestly I didn't put 2 and 2 together about the drop in the first light until later on that it was mentioned. I just assumed first light was just like a fancy word of saying light, to be honest.
Well, it is interesting that it's called first light and that light is different than starborn power. Like I don't know how like the fact that they're both terms of light seems interesting.
Yeah, well, and it seems like everybody who has magic of some kind has first light, because I think Bryce makes an offhanded comment about like, oh, when I finally drop, like I'm gonna create like a thimble full of first light. So I guess it's sort of dependent on what your magical power is, which our girl's gonna figure out she's starborn eventually. So I'm sure she'll create. No, not starborn. Definitely not starborn.
Hypothetically starborn.
Potentially, possibly, hypothetically starborn.
Elena just wants to shut this down.
Shut it down.
I have no comments. Yeah, well, and there's the whole thing where like you can drop, and if you drop too far, like you don't have enough power to come back.
Right. And you need an anchor. I'm like, this seems very risky. And at what point did the government go, we need to harness magical power? And we're going to do it in this weird way. I don't know. I'm going full conspiracy theory on this one. Elena, crawl under the table. We can change subjects.
Did the government decide we need to harness first light? Is a really interesting question.
We are taping this in the year of our Lord 2022, so I might be having some conspiracy theories about government and how it works and the world in general. It might just be coloring things, but
Are you saying you don't trust the large overarching government that is the Asteri that we like hear vaguely about, but like don't know much?
Not at all.
Definitely
Not
don't trust
one
the
bit.
theory.
I think that is probably why I had a leg up on Jamie on distrusting Micah, because the minute it was like, this guy's a political figure, I was like, no trust, you'll have to earn it. And he didn't.
Dad's a political figure. You can trust him. There's other political figures in the book you can trust probably. I don't think we've really met any other political figures. Book 2, you meet like the king of the underworld and
King of the underworld, Elena, you're really fast forwarding here.
Maybe it's not king of the underworld. Whoever like how they have like the dead thing, like where all the dead live, and there's a king there. In the book, they talk about how there's a leader of every faction.
Elena, I'm still deciding if I need to cut this part for the actual video. Like, how much did you just spoil for book 2?
Big spoiler! Like, you meet the leaders of the different like parts of Crescent City at different points. Like whether it's in that big thing that's coming up or book 2. Like you meet the queen. You meet like the queen of the ocean, like the sea there.
I got you. Yeah. Meeting the leaders of the places outside Crescent City, which we know about. Yeah.
No, they're in Crescent City. It's all Crescent City. It's just the leaders within Crescent.
We've talked about how this book was. I mean, I've acknowledged that this book was slightly overwhelming for me at the beginning. I'm still trying to keep it all straight while also being like, when are Bryce and Hunt going to tell each other that they love each other?
Yeah, maybe you need to cut out, but no, you just like meet the political leaders. You can like beep over me a little bit.
No, I don't think you spoiled anything. I think I've decided this is all valuable information that I probably should already be aware of.
I think they did
Takeaway.
mention something like the leaders of every
Mhm.
not gate, but is it gate or
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
parts of
where the
the
gates are. Yeah.
yeah. And I definitely glazed over that because it was part of world
Yeah.
building. It's like
It's in the world building chapters, like at the very beginning. I think on the map, like if you open the map, it shows you like the different places in Crescent City.
Yeah.
And it's all about how like the leaders lead their like individual spot, and then they all report to the Asteri. So it's Micah, the Autumn King, the like dead king,
Viper
whose
Queen.
name I don't know, Viper Queen maybe, and then the queen, like the Mer Queen.
and
Yeah, that we haven't met yet.
Yeah.
is he like the
Yep.
leader of Moonwood, where all the wolves are.
Oh, and the witches. The witches might be another political leader that's mentioned in there. I don't know.
Maybe.
Moral of the story is you meet a lot of political leaders. They're all trustworthy. Just trust them.
Oh, sure. Blindly trust political leaders. I got you, Elena. I'm writing it down.
A long-winded way of saying, take note, they can all be trusted. Oh, Sabine,
Oh.
that's one of the leaders. Oh, she's not
Okay.
technically the leader. It's the alpha.
I know we only have a couple more minutes, but I wanted to go back and talk about Syrinx, who we mentioned a couple times and is Bryce's adorable adopted chimera pet / coworker. I guess it was Jessica bought him as a potential present for a investor or someone who was going to buy art from the antiquities shop, and then she was going to like give him away, and Bryce didn't want that because I think they talked about him being made into like a fighting, like almost like dog fighting or something, or they were going to do something bad to him, so she paid a ton of money and he's now hers, which is super cute, and he like goes home with her at the end of the day and stays at work with her.
Know who's really untrustworthy? Syrinx. He has something going on up there.
Well, no,
out.
and other than talking about like another super cute pet, I have noticed a couple hints being dropped about the fact that Syrinx, and I think chimeras in general, like Hunt has mentioned the fact that like, why does Bryce keep him in a cage? He can unlock it whenever he wants to, and basically like, I guess have the ability to sort of break into or out of anything. And I'm like, that wasn't mentioned offhandedly at all. SJM, I got you. Like, what are we unlocking with our pet chimera? I don't know yet, but it's up here.
Syrinx is the murderer.
Oh my god! No.
What a plot twist. Syrinx has been sneaking out at night and murdering him.
Yeah, I'm sure
No.
it's gonna make a reappearance.
How mad would you be if you get to the end of the book and Syrinx is the murderer and I just spoiled it right here and you thought I was just...
I mean, okay, that's a good point.
That.
Since you said it out loud, that means it's not him. But I got really sad for a second. I was just like, but he's so cute. And there was that moment, I think it was like the first night that Hunt slept over when he moved into Bryce's apartment, and Syrinx is just like staring at him like any cat would be at like 6 a.m. being like, where's my food? I was just like, oh my God.
How excited were you guys when they were like, Hunt's just gonna move in now? Hunt lives here. This is his new home.
Loved it. Forks proximity, give me.
Oh my God, I wish that Bryce's apartment wasn't so nice and it didn't have an extra bedroom. Like that's the only problem we have right now.
Jamie, I know you texted me about like Hunt going through all of Bryce's things. Brooke, have you gotten to the part where Hunt goes through all of Bryce's? That's the next part?
I was gonna say, I don't know if he's gone through stuff yet, but I remember it being really cute when he was in the room at first. Just like, I forget if it was like the smell of the room or what it was, but he was like looking at her pictures of her and her parents that she like keeps in the room, and it was just like really sweet, you know. It wasn't him like being in her room, obviously, but it was like that first moment where he was being brought into like her life in a physical space way, which was nice.
Yeah. The scene I'm thinking of is that I would describe as very cute. Like
It's probably like the next chapter because I know Jamie's like a couple chapters ahead of
Only
37 because
chapters.
yeah, well,
It's bound to
sometimes
happen when they're in
yeah,
such close proximity that, of course,
Uh-huh.
like, she's gonna go through her things and her linen
yeah.
closet and the kitchen
Sometimes
drawers
you
and
can't
the
help yourself.
pantry, all of that. It's bound to happen.
Yeah. You've got to figure out how somebody puts their bowls and their spoons away. Like how do you yeah.
Are there
Like,
Um
multiple ways to
coffee in
put
the
bowls and
morning.
spoons away?
see that's the thing, Elena, is when you like move in with someone or you're in someone's space, sometimes it's amazing to see the way that other people like organize their kitchen.
I'm just trying to imagine, like, you put bowls on top of each other. Like, what kind of monster would just like put bowls in a cabinet not stacked? Like,
Maybe Bryce. Maybe I'm about to find out Bryce is a monster. Bryce is the murderer. You heard it here first, folks. Okay, but I know that we are running out of time. And I have been stopped at chapter 37 for far too long. So I'm excited to continue reading. So next episode, we're going to read through chapter 50. Good luck to all of us for stopping at, or I guess stopping at the end of chapter 50 and not continuing, Jamie. But yeah, if you guys want to read along, read through chapter 50 and then meet us up here for episode 3. We will see what goes down and where our predictions are at. But thank you so much for joining us for episode 2, and we will see you later. Bye.